Now you're talking about those different little subtleties, right? That fish will relate to, kind of like up here, where you find a boulder, a smallmouth that can be on it. That's something kind of like what you look for. So when you're going out graphing for these fish, because obviously it's huge on your electronics when it comes to ledge fishing, are you looking first and foremost for just fish, or are you kind of looking for more of these subtleties first and foremost?
Full-blown post-spawn, I'm looking for fish. The subtleties, mapping has got so good. We got C-Map, you got LakeMaster, Navionics was one of the first on scene, but they didn't do the details, but I think they're coming back around. So mapping has changed it tremendously. Superior electronics, all brands have superior side image and down image and capabilities now. So guys, I think offshore fishing has actually got harder than what it used to be. The electronics are making it easier to find stuff, but there's so many people out there doing it now that they're pressured. These schools down here used to be hundreds of them, and now there might be 10 of them. And you have to really, really, really make a good run on a tournament day. And then you start trying to put 4 days of that together. It makes it tough. Offshore fishing is dynamite when they first come off, early in the year. But once they start getting pounded on, those schools get busted up. It's hard now. And I don't fish at home as much as I did because it ain't easy. I mean, you have to go work your butt off to catch those fish now.
Right. Yeah, I feel like because, 7-8 years ago when before the big electronics leap that everyone seems to be getting into, I feel like you find a fish on a ledge and you can almost, from what I've read or seen, right, that you can kind of just lay into them for as long as you want.
I can remember one time on Chickamauga before Chickamauga was really hot as it is now. I mean, being numbered in the top 10 lakes and all that stuff made it a lot more visible to people to see out there. But I can remember, I wish I could remember the year, but I remember fishing a little old. We fished a Saturday tournament and we won it. And I found a school of fish that act like it had never been thrown at. We went back for like 3 tournaments straight, and we would catch 40 to 50 fish over 4 pounds in a 3-hour tournament. I'm talking about smoke them. You'd catch so many that you just think there can't be no way that there's going to be any more, and just keep catching and keep catching, keep catching. Right. Those schools are very rare and far between now.
All right. Yeah, shadow swordfish. That's a confusing word to say. Mentioned in the comments saying that fish are getting very used to forward-facing sonar Mega 360, which, like you said, makes offshore fishing a lot tougher. He said he saw a video how the bank might become the new offshore because there's less pressure. And I've seen something like that too, and I think it was actually a John Cox article talking about how all these guys are offshore now, pushing these fish up shallow, or fish that are already up shallow don't get pressured as much.
That's right. And I fished against John Cox on my home lake like 4 times, and I think he's got me 3 out of 4. And that don't feel good because used to it was not that way. Now, I told John I'm trying my best to send everybody back to the bank for him, but he's probably taking I wish I'd be quiet, but I do. I feel like the bank bite is going to get better across the country, not just here. I think people are overlooking the bank, and I think I'm one of those guys who is overlooking the bank.
Yeah, I hear that 100%. When it comes to, so say you mentioned how when you're in the post spawn, right, and you're graphing around, you're looking for just fish. Is there a certain way you're positioning your boat when you're graphing these ledges so that you can see these fish easier?
Oh my, you're getting some good questions now. I'm gonna let the cat out of the bag just because. So here's the free gift for the night. The best way to scan a ledge is on top of it. Scanning down the ledge from on top, and then you find every small contour difference on top of the ledge, but you also get to see how many fish are suspended off the ledge because your side image and sonar is going to show up those white dots down your left or right side, whichever way you're scanning. When it falls off and it turns black and those fish are suspended, it's like a cotton ball sitting out there. You can't miss them. Now they're hard to catch. That'll be the only secret we may not talk about today. But the suspended fish off the ledge are still telling you that there's fish in the area, and they're going to pull up on that ledge sometime during the day, and they're going to feed. So when you find that high concentration of what you think is the right kind of fish, you're in the right area.
Makes sense. Okay. Well,
to be honest, I do relatively the same thing on Lake Erie. So I always try to scan from top to bottom.
That's right. You will find things you can find. I tell you how I tell people that want to learn how to really scan. I was a paper map guy before we ever had maps. I've got maps of TV. The TVA Lake Chickamauga was flooded in 1934, and they mapped that thing. They can tell you the maps I have, and they're hard to come by now, but TVA has them. But they'll tell you how many trees were in an apple orchard, how big a tree is at the corner of the property line. I'm talking about 34-inch gum tree or 65-inch poplar tree. I mean, it is crazy how detailed these maps are. It showed, that's truthfully, and it's, I'm not letting the cat out of the bag no more. We used to have it a secret for years, but there are underwater springs on the Tennessee River that were dynamite. That was the deal. It's not so much now. They have been fished and guided on now. Used to, we never had anybody guide on something like that. That was kind of like, you just didn't do that, but it happens all the time now. So, but those maps showed those springs. That's what made me start looking for them 25 years ago. I mean, my dad used to call them a hole. We're going to go over and fish this hole, Gunnersville. He wasn't kidding. It's a hole, it'll be 20 feet deep in the middle of a 10-foot flat. And dude, ever fishing the flat went to it in the spring. So my whole life, I've learned to look for those differences. And now, instead of looking for those obvious ones, now you have to really hunt and find the ones that they didn't talk about. One boulder away from the rest of the rock, or one little bitty ridge that's 2 foot shallower than the rest. I mean, it's so small, many things that we're looking for now because electronics and mapping has made it so easy for everybody to find it, and the fish just can't stand that kind of pressure.